Hello, second graders. I'm going to give you just a few pointers on how to color your robin, your John James Audubon bird picture. First of all, I want you to use crayons to color all of the small details in this picture. And then you can use watercolor paints or markers to do any touching up or anything else in the picture that you would like to add. I drew my entire picture with a black crayon. I didn't use a black Sharpie. I had a black crayon, and so that's what I used. So first of all, make sure that when you're drawing your picture that you either use a black Sharpie or a black crayon, because if you're going to paint over the top of it, only a black crayon or a black Sharpie is going to keep the lines where you need them to be. You don't want to use just a regular black marker, or else once it gets wet, it will just kind of smear out onto the rest of your picture. Okay, first of all, robin redbreast is going to have a red breast. So this part of your bird is going to be red. So do this with crayon and take your time. I'm going to go quickly so that I don't use up too much of your time. I just want to give you the main idea. And then you can go ahead and color the rest of the robin brown with maybe lighter shades and darker shades of brown. You can color the beak, maybe a yellowish or orangish color. But you can use some creativity in coloring this bird. Remember, in nature, nothing is ever just one color. So I'm going to color a little bit of brown on these feathers here, but I'm also going to use maybe a little bit of gray just in different places on this bird. I could use some tan or maybe even a little bit of black if I did it very lightly. I think on his legs, I am going to go ahead and just color those in black. Let's see if there was another color I might want to use here. I think once I've got my gray, my brown, I'm going to put a little bit of gray in the beak, but then top it off with a little bit of yellow and even a little bit of orange. Just a little touch of orange in there, maybe a little touch of yellow. So much fun to just do some color blending. Go back and touch up that red breast. Okay, the leaves on the trees, just quickly color them in green, different shades of green. So if you have a dark green and a light green, just going to go over mine with a dark green first, and then maybe fill them in with a lighter green on top or a yellow green. And here we go. Remember, the picture is about the robin. The picture is about the bird, so make sure that any tree branches or leaves that you put are just around the sides and not too much, not too thick. You don't want all of a sudden your bird to be lost inside of the tree, inside of the leaves and the branches. So just the leaves and branches are kind of just in the background or on the sides. And then your branches, color them brown. You could even try doing some texturizing with your branches. And by that, I just mean going back over it and just filling in some of the spots that we didn't catch the first time when we were coloring brown. This takes practice. And once you've tried it 2 or 3 times, you'll start getting the hang of how to blend, mixing several colors together. Once you have your branches and trees colored, then go back, and if you have a blue marker, you could color your sky with a blue marker, although that might take a long time to do. You might not want to take the time to do that, but you could take the side of a blue crayon and do a rub, where you're just rubbing the side of it to fill in the background. If you do decide that you have some watercolor paints and you want to fill in the background, make sure you're using the water first and then filling it in on top with paint. And you'll notice that you can go right over the top of your colored parts, and the crayon will resist the paint for the most part. So don't try to, see how I'm just taking that water right over the top of the branch, right over the leaves? And then can you see how it's starting to separate? How the water does not stick onto the places where I have colored it with a crayon. That's called watercolor resist. We've done it a few other times. I'm sure you're starting to get the hang of that. So anyway, I'm going to spend some time working on the rest of the sky around my robin. Boys and girls, remember that when you're working on this project, you don't have to do it all in one day. You can spend maybe one day just drawing your bird, just drawing it with a black Sharpie or a black crayon, and then the next day, color it with crayons, and then maybe on the third day, you could go and do your painting. And remember, if you don't have watercolor paints at home to use, that's okay. You could use a crayon rub, or you could use markers in the back. Just use what you have. And I'm excited to see how your robins are going to look. Okay, thank you.